lovely people, my name is Nicole, and today I want to talk about This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. So this is Victoria Schwab's latest book. If the name sounds vaguely familiar, but something's off about it, that's probably because you know her by V.E. Schwab. She publishes her adult books under the name V.E. Schwab, and then her young adult and middle grade books under the name of Victoria Schwab, also the author of Vicious, the Dark Shade of Magic series, the Everyday Angel series is her middle grade, and then the Archived series is her other young adult. And this is her latest book. It's sort of right there in the borderlands between YA and adult. In the UK it's being published as adult, in America it's being published as YA. Whatever it is, it's amazing. So if you don't know what it's about, this is about a world where all the violence in the world, it just got to be too much and it had to manifest into something. And so now whenever an act of violence is created, a monster appears. And there are three types of monsters: Korsai, Malachi, and Sunai. The Korsai are created by non-lethal acts of violence, and they eat flesh and bone. The Malachi are created by murder, and they drink blood. And the Sunai are created by mass murder. So horrific, tragic events where lots of people died, and they eat the souls of sinners. The story follows Kate Harker, who is the human daughter of a mob boss who wants to live up to her father's expectations and basically become a monstrous human. And then we follow August Flynn, who is a Sunai, so he's a monster, and he wants nothing more than to be human. He doesn't want to eat souls, he doesn't want to hurt people, he just wants to be human. And he wants to feel as human as possible. And so he goes as long as he can without eating souls, because the longer he goes, the more human he feels. And both of them are just sort of trying to survive and make their way in this really kind of chaotic, dark city where it's been divided into the Flynns and the Harkers, and they're sort of the two big warring families, and they end up getting sent to the same school where they meet and sort of strike up a star-crossed friendship. This is the first book in the series. The second book, Our Dark Duet, will be out in 2017, I believe. So when it comes to thoughts on this book, I absolutely loved it. It is extremely dark. Warning, there is some graphic content in there, violence-wise, but I felt like it was a really good balance. There was enough violence and gore to make it sort of visceral and genuinely unnerving in the best way, but not so much that it basically just turned into torture porn. The two voices of August versus Kate were so distinct, and it was really interesting reading about their going back and forth between what is right, what is it to be human, can you bridge the line between sort of good and evil, human and monster. And I attended Victoria Schwab's event in Seattle when she was on her book tour, and she talked about how one of the great tragedies of this series is that it's very possible for Kate to become a monstrous person, but August can never be human. That sort of idea that it's so easy to sort of go dark, but it's so difficult to pull yourself back into the light. You know, it's easy to destroy, it's difficult to create. That sort of doing the right thing takes so much work. One of the things that really struck me while I was reading was how going into this I expected Kate and August to be completely at odds with each other. I mean, Kate wants nothing more than to be bad. She wants to be the kind of person who hurts people and does whatever it takes to get what she wants, and August wants nothing more than to just be happy and not hurt anyone ever and like run through fields playing violin. And so you wouldn't expect them to get along with each other, but they do. They fit together so well. I feel like they find a happy medium between, you know, human and monster, good and evil. It's this sort of ironic, Flynn reminds Kate how lucky she is to be human and makes her more human, and Kate reminds August that no matter how hard he tries, he's not going to be human, and he might as well use that to his advantage. And sometimes you have to do what it takes to save yourself, to save your friends, to do what you need to do, even if what you need to do isn't necessarily 100% morally right. And so there's this beautiful contrast between the human making the monster more monstrous and the monster making the human more human. I feel like the plot of the story wasn't all that important. I mean, obviously interesting things happened, and like I wasn't bored by the plot, but this was definitely not a plot-driven story. The plot felt more like a vehicle to communicate the themes and the language and these characters and the world, because the world building in this, oh my god. Victoria Schwab said in the event that she always sort of starts with the concept of the world whenever she's writing, and the world building in this was amazing. It felt so real. Like, while I was reading it, not only could I picture the scenes and everything, but I could sort of capture the emotions and just the general feeling and atmosphere of the world, and I got that so clearly communicated. And this mythology was woven so just intricately through the seams of what seemed like a world very similar to our own. Like, I could see how easily our world could become the world of this Savage song. The monsters were different and unique from anything else I'd ever read before, but somehow something about them felt familiar in a really eerie way. Familiar not in the like, I feel like I've seen this before, but familiar in something about them felt so disturbingly tied to the core of human nature. Victoria Schwab makes these absolutely brilliant observations about humanity and life versus death, good versus evil, human versus monsters in all of her books, and I feel like this one especially, it was just absolutely incredible on that front. And then another thing I know about her is that she started with a poetry background and then moved into novel writing, and I feel like that is so evident in the way that she uses language. She so carefully crafts each scene so that she can get the exact reaction she needs from readers, whether that's a giggle, rarely, because, like, let's be real, there are very few times when you are smiling or laughing in her books, because they are so dark, but, you know, a giggle, a smile, a tear, or just, like, a chill up your spine. The way she plays with language and just weaves the words together is absolutely incredible. I love this book so much. It is one of my all-time favorite books now, I would say. Which, like, I'm usually so much more drawn to books that are much more plot heavy than this one is. I feel like this one is so heavily driven by the themes and the world building, which is a really interesting experience reading it, because you normally get like plot driven books or character driven books, and this one feels like it's driven by the concept of this world. It's fascinating and it's so good, and I gave it 5 stars, and everyone should read it because it's amazing. This book is dark, it's twisted, it is violently beautiful. I love every single one of Victoria Schwab's books. This is no different. I was gonna wait and hold off and read it for the booktubeathon, but I could not wait to pick it up. V.E. Schwab, Victoria Schwab, whichever name she's using, is one of my all-time favorite authors. She has become an auto-buy author for me. I love her so much. She's also just such a sweetheart. I've met her in person now twice, for her Gathering of Shadows event and then for her The Savage Song event. She's just a wonderful person. Let me know what you think of the book in the comments. I love you, and I will see you later.